Welcome to Magical Moments for that ease and betterment in your life. I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and today is an Ask Alena day. I love Ask Alena because you guys, you are getting so much of what I'm talking about that now you're starting to really think about these questions and you're really coming up with some really cool ones. And we've got a really interesting one, too. That will be last. And I really want to know. That's interesting. And actually, it brings up a really good point. So today, we've got 3 questions that I'll be answering in a half an hour time. So we better get started. And all of them are going to better your life, even better. Can you teach us how to communicate with spirit? That was the first question. And whoever asked this, yeah, you're ready. You are so ready. Communicating with spirit. Of course, that's what I do. And I help you to communicate first with your own soul. I help you to connect to that incredible part of you. And when you do, then you start communicating with spirit. Now, I think we got to define spirit, because it's kind of a vague thing. If you talk modalities, if you talk religions, if you talk anything, everybody seems to have a different idea. I know when lots of people, even on TikTok, they talk about spirit, but they're talking about souls that have passed that have not gone to the light or heaven. That is one form of talking to a form of spirit. Do I talk with those? I do, but I don't make that my career. Usually they come to me and want to go to the light. I've said that on this broadcast. I've done that since I was 7 years old. And for some reason, I'm able to open that light for them or get them into that light. But I don't usually find myself carrying on long conversations. I don't go up to people and say, oh, your mom is here with you or whatever. I don't do that. That's just not what I do. Now, but I do connect to the soul and I help others. And in that, and in the journeys I do, I help you to connect to your guides, your angels, your power animals or animals that come to visit. And me, myself, I do this on a daily basis. I'm very much in line with my guide and wonderful teachers that come to me. I learn a lot of things to do even psychically because of them teaching me. I also feel so much guidance in my life, which is really nice. Which brings up a good point. It's very interesting, and this is something I had to learn once I started connecting to to spirit. Okay, we'll use that quote unquote. I think of that as spirit, all right? The divine, whether you think that's God, and of course you can talk to God. God and the guardian angels and the wonderful, all the different leaders of all the modalities, of all the power. If we're talking about that is spirit. That's divinity. And the funny thing is, when you talk to anyone there, you got to remember, you're talking in the light. And when you talk in the light, you get the light. You get the answer that is going to be the light, no matter who you're talking to. Okay? So one thing I have found when I was growing up, my dad was a doer. He taught me many things. He was a fantastic man. But he was a make-it-happen kind of person. Now, that's great. And it's a very yang, do it, go after it kind of person. And he really put double dose on me because he thought I was a flower child. I've said that before. And I am. And so when he thought I'd be too lackadaisical. But, because when I studied, the TV was on, the music was on. I didn't have any issue with any of that. He did. He did teach me a lot. However, this is the thing. As I've been many years making it happen, when I started connecting to my soul and my spirit, things changed. I don't feel I have to make it happen. I'm more in knowing that as I grow into becoming what I want in my life, then I will be guided. You know, the synchronicities come in, the right people come in, the lessons that I need to learn to become even more of what I want to be will come in. And everything will come into its time. There's not a real rush. And I'm going to have a show on this, actually, because I think it's so important. The more you are in that make it and do it kind of mode, it's very hard to connect to spirit. It's also very hard to trust your intuition, which brings me into that next question. How do you validate your own intuition? Now, it's a trust within you and your body, you and your spirit. And this takes stopping and allowing yourself to start to learn you. All of this does. Sure, I can give you like 5 minutes and get you, you're all tapped into your intuition for a minute and you're talking to some spirit. But here's the problem. And a lot of people do that. And they say, okay, you're all set. And I know that because they're my friends. But this is the thing. We come with a lot of baggage. We've had a long life of lots of experiences and things that we have learned that are stored in our energy, stored in different parts of our body. If you're speaking the language that we kind of have as lingo, the chakras, the centers of energy in our body. All right. And when we have all that stuff in there, it's hard to trust ourselves because we have old experiences that are saying, oh, that can't be. Oh, no, you're just being silly. Oh, my gosh, that's silly women's intuition, even though you're a man. It doesn't matter. They'll call it women's intuition, and it's silly. And when a spirit talks to you or when divinity even opens up to you, you'll say, what? That can't be. What is that? Am I being haunted? We always put a negative spin on it. And that is the old baggage. And then there's the old, really big one. Am I really worthy of this? That's a humongous one. And so the Hello Soul book and what I do with the soul wisdom and growth that I help you with is it's working through those chakras, cleaning it out. So then all of a sudden, when you hear spirit talk to you, when you hear your guide say hello, you know it's your guide saying hello. When you see them sending you beautiful colors, you know there's a reason for those colors. And as far as intuition, you become so, you clear out all the tension from the body so that your body can speak to you and spirit can work through your body. So when you do get that little stomach thing, when, it doesn't lay right, you know it's not something you ate. You know that it really is your intuition because you've cleared out the stuff that will tell you otherwise. Do you see? We have to kind of get back into ourselves. And what do I mean by that? We've got to stop being on the treadmill. And I'm not just talking about the economic one. I'm, making money and career, although money does seem to become our new god. But it's also just everything. We make everything a fanatical thing. Like, oh, I've got to work out. Okay, so I'm going to get into that zone of working out and that's it all. That's all I can see. Or I'm into this zone or that zone. And we put ourselves in these zones and they're not real. I was walking at a nature preserve just the other day. And there's this well-worn path. It's actually cemented. And during the winter, I stay on that path because not always, but most of the time because it's very mucky out there. everybody's on that. They're all doing their, speed walking, they're biking, they're all saying hello. They think they're getting lots of nature. But they're really just zoned in on their own, walking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there is a path that you can take that is, okay, it's all grass. It goes by the ponds. It goes out by the rivers. It goes out to the fields. The red-winged blackbirds, the blue herons, the chipmunks, the squirrels, the deers, that's where they're all hiding. And if you take that path out, then you are starting, and you slow down your walk, and you start to breathe. You start to raise your arms in your air. You start to stretch. You start to listen. You talk to a bird. You start to come back to you. And it's so important that we start to come back to us, to release all the everything we're holding inside. Our lower abdomen is so tight most of the time. We think it's normal. We think that little busyness down there is normal. It's not. That's the beginning of worry and anxiety. And when you just breathe in, let that just breathe in way down into the abdomen. Open that up. And just allow yourself not to think. Just observe. When you're driving in your car, put music on that you enjoy and just observe your own body, observe your own feelings, observe your own happiness. Allow yourself to be you. It's so important. And then that's when Spirit can talk to you. It can start to send you things. You'll know when things aren't right. But really, it takes doing a little bit of, I don't like that thing, work. It's not work. It really isn't. I don't know why somebody labels that. They think it is. But for me, it wasn't. It really was opening another petal on the flower. It's just opening up the bud. And every lesson I learned opened up another flower, opened up another petal on that flower. And I always found it awakening. My eyes just opened wide. I was just like, wow. I never found it work. And I could release it then. So yeah, if you're really interested in learning how to communicate with Spirit, and you just don't want a quickie, but you want to be guided by it for your life so that you can understand that flow, you can have that confidence, so that you can feel good about who you are, that you don't have to get on I don't know, you won't have to like be mean to people to set up your boundaries. They just know. To find that you are a presence all of a sudden. You know? That is a relaxed present. That when you walk into a room, people come to you because you have a Spirit guidance, because you're calm, because you're happy, because you're totally you. And I think if you're interested in that kind of thing, then you need to contact me. How can you contact me? Millions of ways. You can send me a text here at 46862 and say, hey, Alena, I would really love to talk to you. I'm open to that. If you are looking at YouTube, you can leave me a message there. If you have Messenger, you can leave me a message there. You can leave me a message anywhere on social media, and we will get it. But you can always text me here, 46862. Okay? And then now, and your intuition. Oh my gosh. Yes, intuition is totally real. I always feel my intuition in my stomach. Yeah, that's where it begins. I will walk into a room, and if it's not right, my stomach will start to just cringe. You can feel it just squeeze. But like I said in a show, I said, you know what? I don't run and hide. I do step out, and I do assess why I'm feeling that way. And if I understand why I feel that way, then when I walk back into that room, because I have the confidence and I am guided, I can walk back into that room and I can change that energy, or at least meet the people I want to meet. And I don't let that awfulness enter into me. Okay? I allow my intuition to be processed, and it won't stay. I even had to hang around a person for a little bit of time that I knew was not for my good. But it wasn't a choice at that moment. And so I had to spend a good 3 hours with someone like that. And my stomach at first was like, ah, and then I had to just breathe and say, okay, I got this now. And I handled the situation. I didn't have to go hide somewhere. Do you see? It gives me a warning, and I adjust my behavior. I adjust my thoughts to that. So my intuition is very valuable. And yes, you should trust it. But first, you got to know what it is. And then the third question, do I cry out loud? Now, I had to laugh. Do I cry out loud? It's a good question. Yes, I do. I don't cry a lot. I really don't. If I have a cry, if I really, and I remember where this question came from, because sometimes I get movies. I used to get movies to find out why I was upset, and then I cry. Yes, I would cry. Yes, and yeah, I cry out loud. There's nothing to be ashamed with that. Actually, guys, you know what? When you cry out loud, you are releasing. When you hold in and stifle that cry, it stores in your muscles. You got to get it out of you. You got to just let it out. You got to cry. And it feels so good, because when you're done crying, it's like, okay, I can deal with this now. Right? You know, you need to clear the energy from your body, because it's sadness. You're actually venting the sadness out of you. And when you cry out loud, it helps than just like whimpering. When you cry out loud, it really gets that sadness out so that you can start fresh. And yes, I do cry out loud. I don't really have to do it often, though, because the more I'm guided by spirit, I don't have that many opportunities. And I'm also kind of funny. I used to, and I don't know if I do it so much anymore. I was always the girl who cried at the happy ending, which I always found interesting. Some psychologists will probably tell me why. And the bad ending I didn't cry at. But then as I've changed and grown in my own self and my own spirit, I don't cry at either anymore. So that's kind of cool. It's really interesting. Our crying does tell a lot about us. But it's also a wonderful way to vent. And I wholeheartedly think everyone should have a good cry when they need it. It's not a bad thing. In fact, it's very good. But then move on from it. Then change something. Do something better. Right? Yeah. That's how it works. These are excellent questions. You know, and I should tell you some funny stories. When you talk to spirit and you get where you are, I'd love to share a story with you. When you get where you are, you've grown and you have confidence and you trust and you know that guide is helping you. The trips you can go on, the things you can see, are incredible. You know, I have learned so much about who I am, who I was, how I have become here, what is my purpose, all from my guides. And I have done things I never even thought possible. My brother, when he passed, he was just awful. He wanted me to avenge his death. I don't know if I've told you this, but I'm going to tell you now. And so I had a friend come down with me to move stuff. And I had brought a drum because I thought she might like to go on a journey. Well, the night that she was with me, we slept in the same room in a hotel. And she said, "Oh my gosh, do you know your drum was playing all night long?" And me, unless it's dangerous, I tune it out. I don't wake up. And I feel safety, you know? And I said, "Really?" And then it started to play. Well, that was my brother. My brother was wanting me to go back and avenge his death because he felt he was wronged. So I got kind of tired of that, and I asked Archangel Michael to come in and just keep him at bay for a while. And then when I was ready to talk to him, I had to think things through. Do I really want to avenge? Do I really want to deal with this problem? I instead asked, I said, can I talk to Stephen now? And Archangel Michael let him talk to me. And when I talked to him, I got him all calmed down. And I got him ready to go into the light, which he needed to go. I mean, well, it's home. It's home. And so I looked at Archangel Michael and I said, can you take him to the light? Because I think my mom and dad might just set him off again and I'll have to start all over. and he said, well, so he said, no, I won't take him, but you can. And I said, what do you mean? I don't think so. If I go, I might not come back. And my guide said, no, I'll have your cord. I will tug and you will come back. But what I meant was it would be so wonderful I wouldn't come back. So we walked. I walked the light. Now, I've always opened up the spirit for the light, but I've never walked it. And so we walked the light. Now, this is because of my guides. I'd never do this on my own. And I walked him all the way to the light. And I'll tell you what I found. This is cool. When I got to that light with my brother, it was like there was a giant, white, beautiful cloud, but it wasn't a cloud. And it went miles and miles and miles. And then it just broke apart and millions of souls came forward. It was so cool. It's like one consciousness just all of a sudden opened up the doors and all these beautiful souls came forward with all this incredible love. Just love. Incredible love. And so much joy. And this peace just washed over my spirit like incredibly. And my brother was, he was in his glory. He just loved the acceptance. And they just walked him right in. And me, I was feeling tugged. My cord was tugged. My guide was saying, okay, Alena, you got to come home. So I came back. But these are the kinds of things that some of us out there might say, oh, come on, Alena. But, hey, he's not bothering me anymore. Yeah? And I got to experience that true heaven, what it is. Who gets to do that on a daily basis? Not many. So yeah, is it worth doing the so-called work to get yourself into a place where you just see so much more and you understand so much more? So what happens? Oh my gosh, you don't worry like everyone else. You don't get swallowed up in all the crap. All the craziness of the drama we're suffering right now. And all of a sudden, you gain this higher perspective because you know it's going to be okay. It's just, are we going to take the long road or the short road? Are people going to all suddenly wake up and say, no, this is not what we want? Or are we going to just let it just rule itself out, which might take a longer road? We might have a lot more hardship, but that's just what we're choosing. That's it. You don't get all involved in getting angry and everything anymore because you just know. So, like I said, you guys are doing great. You're listening to things. You're really absorbing the information, which is absolutely fabulous. If you want to talk to me and you want to learn more, or you want to start going on a healing journey, or you want to start talking to your guides, or you want to start learning how to discover you, I have those courses and I'd be happy to get you started because, I see improvement with everyone that I work with. And I say that with complete humbleness. I have never seen someone not benefit. And that's pretty incredible, I think. So if you want to join me in some classes and really reach your potential in getting guided and talking to spirit, text me at 46862. As always, guys, love is spirit. And when you clean out all the crap and you start to hear spirit, then all of a sudden you are love. And the more we live with love, we start to open up to spirit because it's all around us. I love you all. You're awesome listeners. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste.